So I don't know. I don't know what happened with it, but that was a matchup that I told Beasley that, I would be interested in discussing if we could get the business right.
Yeah, for sure. Well, man, I only got 2 more sessions. Like I said, I kept you here for a minute. You've opened up about a lot of things, man. This session is called Rappers Pentagon. Any of you guys have watched my show before or whatever, I pretty much do a Rappers Pentagon, which is like top 5 oriented stuff for rappers. So I got 5 questions, and all of them pertain to top 5 or whatever, 5 things or whatever.
Okay.
First one. What are your top 5 career defining battles? You can only choose 5.
For me?
Yes.
Career defining.
Maybe not your favorite, maybe not your best performances, because that's a different thing. But in terms of impact and moments in your career.
K-Shine.
Okay.
Excuse me. JC.
Okay.
Daylight.
Okay.
Prep.
That beat the stigma of being a big stage, plunder. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. And at Ice.
For winning a chain.
At Ice.
Okay.
Shine for being kind of like the final, the final test and winning champion of the year. Head Ice for
Chain.
Winning King of the Dot, Chain. So my 2 championships there. Me and JC is an all-time classic.
Absolutely.
Me and Daylight.
That was you getting your monkey off your back, because I remember you saying a lot of people said that you couldn't replicate what you did with JC. So like that was your way of getting the monkey off your back.
That was it. That was like, you know what I'm saying?
I could do this anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And then Prep, like you said, was like, curving the idea, especially after the DNA battle, that I could perform on a stage, that I could handle a stage, that my style can translate and be effective on a stage with a larger crowd. So I would say those 5.
Okay. Top 5 toughest battles to prepare for. Not top 5 tough battles in the moment, but to prepare for. Like when you're writing this stuff, you're like, damn, I don't know if this is enough. I don't know what approach he's gonna take. I don't know what's gonna happen. So top 5 toughest battles to prepare for.
Real Deal Part 3 by far.
Obviously, because that's your come on.
Real Deal Part 3 by far.
Yes.
Was the toughest battle for me to prepare for.
Yes.
Preparing a 7th, 8th, and 9th round against a man that I was, that I consider one of my best friends, that I already battled twice and was already feeling like my motivation wasn't the same because I didn't want to kill, right? So I said earlier that like it was hard for me to write for him because it was like
can't go kill
mode. For Nitty, the way I wrote for Twerk was like, I need to smoke these. Like I need to get them out. I need to smoke these niggas. Any angle I can think of, any like with Real Deals, it was more like I want to think of more classier ways, classier angles, classier name flips, like my writing process was a little different. Then to have to come up with a 7th, 8th, and 9th 3-minute round to talk about with Real Deal, that by far is number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, Emerson Kennedy.
Let's dig into that because I can kind of tell that was a hard battle for you to like really prep for, because the fan in me, right? And I'm no exposing meant to be done, but when I'm in the building, right, and I hear the Yoshimitsu bar that you kind of rehash from the Lux diss track, I was like, oh, he had to he had to dig in the crates to find something or whatever, because obviously he, it just wasn't that type of battle. So I can understand that.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so that one was tough for me for a couple of different reasons, man. Like we said earlier, my motivation wasn't necessarily there. B, it was 2 weeks after Kid Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
C, I was going through a lot of personal stuff.
Yeah. Prayers to you, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you.
So.
So that one, as far as preparation, was really tough. So I'll say that one was number 2. Number 3.
Can I throw one out there? I feel like it may have been hard just because like you tried avoiding battling this person for a while.
Yeah.
Quantum physics, was that a hard battle to prepare for just because you never really wanted to battle him? Or was it easy in that like you had a lot to talk about since there was a build up for it? Because that's really your only grudge match that you had in your career.
Yeah,
that and Born, but like Born wasn't really a grudge match after a while. But like Quantum Physics was like your only real grudge match that you had.
Yeah, it wasn't tough to prepare for Quantum. Not okay, so not in the sense of like, what do I say to this guy? There was a ton to be said, right?
Right.
But the difficult part of it, and it's probably still not in my top 5, but the most difficult part of that process was just the mutual respect that I had for his penmanship and feeling like, yeah, this is dope. Is it dope enough? Right? Like
because you don't want to get shown up by like a dude that like been like calling you out and been saying that like you're like he's the father of schemes and like you're like he called you the Prince pin or whatever and stuff like that. I remember all those promos. So
yeah. So that part of the battle with Quantum was just like, yeah, all of this is dope. I like all my material, but is this material going to be able to hang, with what he's doing? But
and it most definitely hang. The Steve Harvey thing, the Katrina victims thing. Like I don't know, you had to go to a certain place to get that for sure.
Yeah, no, I loved my first round. I loved my third round too, man. I still feel like people sleep on that third round, but my third
what's
round
extra
for him is exactly it's crazy, especially when you compare like his third round angle is about razor bumps. So, I'm talking about you being on back pages and showing your body to men, and you're talking about my razor bumps. Okay, just different substance. You know what I'm saying? It's different substance. But in terms of like when you ask this question, I'm thinking more of like sitting down in front of my computer and I'm like, man, what do I even say to this guy? Real Deal, definitely. Emerson Kennedy, definitely. I'm gonna say Real Sick.
Is it because of the short prep?
It's because of the short prep, and it's also because for newer guys, there's not as much to talk about. Like what do I say about a guy who, okay, he lost in the tournament.
And you have the Lex Luger thing, but even you say you're not going to you're going dyslexic.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
so
yeah. So like, yeah, he's from iBattle. He's of a different nationality, but like, is there anything bad about him that I can bring to the forefront? I don't know enough about him.
Right.
I have 11 days to get ready, and so that's why in that battle, I relied heavily on name flips because it was like,
and you can kind of see the style clash because he had a bunch of angles for you.
Yeah,
but he had a bunch of angles for you.
But that was dope because again, usually for people, I'm a tough prep. I'm tough to write for because I don't have a lot of things. So he was creative in taking the ghostwriting aspect of my reputation,
the small room,
and being able to turn those things.
30 people in the room. Yeah, when there's only 30 people in the room.
Right. Clever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he's taking things that are normally, I think, looked at as strengths or as like, good things about me and my character, my battle rap character, and turning them into angles against me,
right.
which is his skill, which is what he's great at. You know what I'm saying? That a lot of people don't have that ability. So I'll say real sick. Number 3. I'm gonna say DNA the rematch.
Yeah, that was slept on. That was right before the Nitty battle, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. Yeah.
Yes. DNA the rematch was tough because
One is a rematch.
So this is the second set of rounds I got to
And
come
y'all
up
kind of
with
cool.
against him.
Right.
And we're super cool at this point. You know what I mean? Like this was a situation where I told the league, like, I wouldn't rematch DNA because we're super cool, and they hit me with a number and him with a number that we immediately called each other and said, well,
that was y'all sparring session, because y'all both had volume plates after that anyway. So like it pretty much was just like a sparring session, you know what I'm saying? I remember walking away from that battle like I'm like, while I would have liked a more competitive battle, they're warming up. Like he got Nitty, you got Nitty, he got Verb. So I'm like, I can't be too mad, you know.
Right.
So.
You know what I'm saying? So and again, just to tie it back, like I don't want me and Av to look like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's my fear, that me and Av on a URL stage may look like that, because that was really just a cash grab for me and DNA. And it was a good battle. It was entertaining. It was, it was cool, but it didn't have the intensity as the first battle. It didn't have the hunger of the first battle. It just was a little bit different. So I'll say DNA Part 2 is another one.
Can I make another guess?
Yes.
Was Stewie Newton a hard battle to prep for? Because it seemed like you took an angle and then like you even said that you wasn't too motivated in the battle. And like it seemed as if like so I don't think the performance was bad, but I do think that it wasn't a overly enthused Chilla. Like you tried to bark on him a little bit, but like obviously you were just trying to talk to him or whatever. You didn't really have no real bars for him. Yeah. And I could get the sense that maybe it was a situation where maybe it was last minute prep, or maybe it was a situation where you got called last minute or whatever, because he came to play against you. But obviously it was a different type of thing.
So there's a me and Stewie story also, which is I
think you talked a little bit about it in the battle too.
I'm trying to. Oh, okay, I remember. In 2013, I went to a battle event in Tacoma.
Yeah.
I hosted. There was a dude there named Loons, and he had a battle against somebody, and he has this scheme, like this section of his bars where he's flipping I think the phrase is Red Lion, which is also the name of like a hotel that's out in the Northwest.
Right.
And I forget exactly how he did it or what he did or whatever, but okay. But when I battled Deadman in 2014, that was 2013 also.
It might have been. I think Deadman was 2013.
Because me and Daylight was the first battle after Deadman, and that was 2014. Yeah. So me and Deadman was 2013. So this must have been like maybe 4 months later. I had a section of my round for Deadman that was Dead Lion. And I forget exactly how I put it, but it was just, Dead Lion, Dead Line, Dead Lion, the Dead Lion, dead, like a dead lion, like a whole bunch of flips. And so Stewie had accused me
of stealing
it from
and
the other dude.
And that makes sense, because a lot in that time period, right? You were also, before Av was getting hit with like the stealing allegations, they were saying that like they were saying you were stealing from up and comers and stuff like that. You even mentioned the QP battle too.
Yeah, and QP was also also a catalyst of that narrative as well, right? So Stewie was also a catalyst of that narrative, and so Stewie is on Facebook and on Twitter, and trying to make the video, make the comparison, and they're discrediting me, they're slandering my name, and so for a long time there was a little animosity with me and Stewie, because in my head I was like, I never necessarily understand why there's a lack of, like, if you're a rapper, Malcolm, and I feel like you intentionally stole something from me, the very first thing I'm gonna do is inbox you and say, yo, let me holler at you real quick. Like, can I talk to you about a bar that you had that was really similar to a bar I had, that, and you were at my event, and did I inspire you? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And as a man, I'm gonna take you at your word. So if you're like, yo, I was in the bathroom during your battle, or I stepped out for a cigarette during your battle, or yo, I did watch your battle, I totally didn't even remember you said
it's
that.
because sometimes battlers subconsciously, like,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? I would have been like, okay, cool, you know what I'm saying? So and that would have been that. I would have took you at your word as a man. I would not go public and accuse you of doing something. I wouldn't try to discredit you or slander your name, no matter how close yours is to mine. And I would just let that be that, right? Because that's how I move and that's how I am. So when I see people when I got to wake up to Facebook tags and then go to a post, and it's accusing me of stealing something from somebody that I met in person, or have some kind of relationship with, where you have my number, or we're friends on Facebook and you could have inboxed me, that's to me, that's like one of the most wackest, corniest, like, I don't get it. I don't get how grown men move that way. So at the time, that put a really bad taste in my mouth, and I really didn't rock with Stewie in that way. We had done a couple of events. I had been back to the Northwest a couple of times to battle. We had been on the same cards and really just had not dealt with each other, had not spoken to each other, you know what I'm saying? Didn't talk whenever we crossed paths. It was whatever. We had crossed paths once, even in New York. I think before my prep battle, I think Stewie was out there maybe for a PG or for something else, and he was at the event. And again, I didn't say nothing to him. You know what I'm saying? It was what it was. When we got locked into battle, the same way with QP, I was like, well, you know what? This is a little bit of a grudge. It'll help sell the tickets. I can ask for more money as a result. The same thing with Stewie. They hit me with another number that I couldn't refuse. And rest in peace to Slim, who's no longer with us.
Rest in peace.
Who set up that battle. He was like, I know y'all have y'all issues, and I want y'all to resolve it on our stage. You know what I'm saying? And so we decided to do it. And so that's why, like, my first round in that battle is the way it is. That first round angle is an angle most people would save for the third. But like, I wanted to come out the gates with it because I genuinely wanted him to get mad and swing. I wanted him to get mad. So I came out the gates with the angle that I took, hoping that it would fluster him enough to not be on point for his 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Stewie was able to hold it together. I love Stewie's performance in that battle. It wasn't. So I say all that to say it wasn't difficult necessarily to write for Stewie, but you'll notice in grudge matches that my focus isn't always entirely on penmanship as much as it is on, like,
because that's the only time we see
I'm
you
trying to push
aggressive or like piss somebody off. Like,
like I'm
we
trying
usually
to push a
don't
button.
like, you usually keep it wrapped, but like I could see there was a sense of tension in that battle for sure. Because like I'm like, Chilla doesn't come that way in any other type of battle unless like, and I'm like, the only other time he did that was against QP. So I'm like, there's obviously something there. So
exactly. So that's like the Stewie story, and that's like why my performance versus Stewie is so similar to my performance versus QP. So I can see why you could watch that and be like, I wonder if that was a struggle for Chilla to write for because of maybe like an underlying grudge. I wouldn't say that one was tough to write for. I'm gonna tell you what the last one is, and this one honestly probably is maybe number 2 or 3 on the list. It's the 2-on-2, me and Magic versus
you know what?
Briz and T Top.
Because let me also again do my journalism stuff. So you battle Cortez, I want to say within the same month. Was that the same month?
Yeah, 3 weeks prior.
Yeah. And then not only that, it's like you and Magic have never done a 2-on-2 before.
Correct.
Obviously Magic lives in St. Louis. You live in Boston. You guys are going against 2 individuals who live in ballpark near the same region or whatever.
Yeah.
Big stage, first time doing double impact, right? And this was when 2-on-2s were starting to change in terms of the delivery, because like what you guys did, while it worked to a degree, it wasn't that, because you mentioned shadow boxing. This is technically shadow boxing as rappers, because they're both, every line they're trading off. Whereas you guys, you have your 4, B Magic have his 4, and you guys do that, and then maybe you will spit a full 16 in a certain whatchamacallit, and he'll spit his full 16. So I could tell that like that was probably a struggle to write for, because it didn't seem like there was that much continuity between you two in that
battle. Exactly. And you know, everybody else on the card is writing from a, you know, from a place of chemistry, right? And like because me and Magic, the only practice we had the night before. That's the only practice we had in person, being able to figure out how certain things were going to look, how we were going to move, how it was going to go. But otherwise, even, you know, the writing process was entirely over Skype and entirely over, you know, Facebook video, because it was like, you know, that's how we put together our material. And then we had one night to practice it when we got to New York, and then it was game time. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't the same.
Who came up with C Magic? Did you come up with C Magic?
Or I did. I came up with C Magic. He came up with Billa Jones. And you know, I think our writing and our concepts were great. I just think that
Briz and Top
came the chemistry, the back and forth, like seeing the way they walked around each other, the split screen like it's GoldenEye, the you know, all the little things that they did and the way that they did.
And they came with angles too. So like they was really coming at each other's necks. He said Briz was coming at you kind of heavy, and then like T-Top was aiming at B Man. And it's crazy because the way that they were like approaching you guys, you would have thought that there was a battle lined up later on, because Briz was actually kind of coming at you kind of crazy in the battle, and B Magic was like really like talking to, T-Top was really talking to B Magic. So you would have thought that like they had a battle lined up after, because the way that they was like attacking you guys. So.
Yeah, nah, but you know, but it was definitely, you know, I think a respecting, and you know, salute to T-Top and Briz. You know, they've always, you know, although I have my back and forth with T-Top, you know, it's always love, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always love with T-Top and Briz especially. So, but yeah, that's definitely, you know, I would say those were the 5 battles that were the hardest to write and prepare for.
Now we're on to the next one. Top 5 favorite schemes you've written in your career. I already have my 5. I love man, I don't know how many times I brought this up in your chat on your caffeine stream. The close in poison, you open, I open, so smoking, leave him smoking against DNA in that second round. That's my favorite, because it's a scheme, but it's also showing your rapping ability and your wordplay. Like that's one of my favorite schemes you ever did, just because of the brain power it takes to break down a word that many times and then go into another same rhyme too. So like there's a whole nother like thing that you're doing there that was just amazing. And that was a room shaker. People were like literally flabbergasted by that. Like insane. That one, the DiCaprio scheme you had against Clips is one of my all-time favorite schemes. Very slept on. Black Ice Cartel classic in my opinion. Your J. Cole scheme against Born, just because I'm a huge J. Cole fan and nobody's ever done a J. Cole scheme. The Mario scheme against Jonai, come on now, that goes without saying. The Kanye West scheme against Geechee, again, like that's one of my favorites, because like I'm like, how come nobody's ever thought to do a Kanye West scheme or whatever? And then honorable mention, JC gives you a crazy, crazy third. And what do you do within the first couple of bars in your third round? You give a compact scheme of all these R&B groups within like a 4 to, I don't know how many bars, but I know it wasn't that many bars, and you were able to list off at least 5 to 6 different types of R&B groups or acts within that scheme too. So that's another one too, that R&B scheme you had against JC.
You know what's crazy is half that scheme is cut off. If you watch me and JC, if you watch how it comes into my third, it comes in at the end of my R&B scheme. So you only get like the, you know, Aaliyah baby face on that black street, right?
Crazy.
Like, you get that part of it, but you don't get like there's a whole. It was either like 4 or 6 bars of R&B groups, like, and this is before like the Tone Montana, you know, I'm sorry, Lotta Zay
did it. Yeah.
Lotta Zay does something similar.
Right.
Mine's was, I don't know if I've ever spit this on camera, but mine's was so first I had a rebuttal that was like so in his third round he says, "Who would I be if I didn't give you the nigga you paid for?" And I rebutted that, and I said something like, "You can make them look down on me for paying for this classic, but they'll be looking down on you when you laying in this casket." That would have been
fire. Especially that would have reversed that would have been fire.
And then I said, "City said it would be tragic, only ended up scarring me. You betting we'll match it. We confident on R&B. I got faith. I'm that next new addition. I got these cats beat. If I drew, he'll act shy, then I'll be sure that he mad sweet. The total be 2Ks. Handle Maxwell when we clap heat and see air around when I'm aiming. Aaliyah baby face on that black street." So like that's the whole
so you had a
scheme, right?
whole that would have been crazy.
So the camera, because the battery died,
right?
And they had to switch batteries. When the camera comes in, it comes in on "If I drew, he'll act shy," and it comes in on that part, but it doesn't catch the "I got faith. I'm that next new
that's
addition.
A whole
I got these
set
cats
of,
beat."
That's crazy.
So it misses, part of that. You know what I'm saying? It misses the first 2 bars, and it comes in on "The total be 2Ks. Handle Maxwell when we clap heat." It misses the first half. So Faith, next new addition, Drew Hill, Shy, I'll be sure, all get left out of the scheme.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is an all-time classic battle. This is the only round that people give JC clearly. And my rebuttal in the first half of a scheme that you are mentioning as one of the best schemes ever,
it's missing.
Half of it is not even there.
Right. That's insane.
So imagine how that may have evened things, right? For the people that are like, JC clearly got the third. Imagine how that rebuttal in the first half of that R&B scheme may have changed the narrative to like every round is debatable.
And it's crazy because you did a rebuttal in your second when you said, "You can do what I can do. That's your way of imitating Chilla. Well, I can do what you can do, but I don't have no time for filler." So you kind of, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So along with showing the difference in my style and the scheming, I was also rebuttaling. I was also freestyling. I was also doing different things to kind of give myself that separation. But my top 5 schemes: the Mario scheme versus Joe Nye is definitely one. My astrology scheme versus City is definitely up there.
Did she plan it?
No comment. Definitely up there. Man, for JC, my car scheme,
okay,
in the first round,
yeah,
I'll put up there. Although the music instrument scheme is also very wild.
Whoever bagpipes, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say the car scheme. So that's 3.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2.
Oh, I forgot one. I gotta name the John one. The John one was insane. Oh my god.
The John scheme versus John was
oh
crazy.
My goodness. Because when you're rapping it, you're not catching all the Johns, and then like you're not so when you scheme, you say it straight through like regularly, so we're not catching like the last names because
right.
Like
yeah. And then when I bring it back, it's like people start catching the last names and like, oh, this is kind of wild. The John scheme is definitely crazy. I'm gonna say there's just so many to choose from. There's so many that come to mind. That was crazy too, man. Okay, so I'm gonna say there's a scheme I did against Chaos, the DJs.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably one of my favorite schemes in recent memory.
Even putting bullet holes in Kid Caprice, like
way
to end the whatchamacallit.
So to be able to take like a line that I had, a line that he had that was similar,
this on your record player,
to be able to be like, I'm gonna remix it, which is a DJ reference.
Mm-hmm.
And then to hit with the DJ scheme right after, I thought was like super fire writing. So I'm gonna say
lit him up instantly. That's crazy.
So yeah, I'm gonna say the Mario scheme, the astrology scheme, the JC car scheme, the Kid Chaos DJ scheme, and I'm gonna end it with man, that there's probably some recency bias here. But I did a scheme.
Again, are you going with the Tay-Rock one, the Gemstone one, or
nah? That one is also fire.
You know how good I am at this. Whew.
You know how yeah.
That's crazy.
You know how good I am at this. No, the versus Automatic Ray.
Oh yeah.
I did the Usher scheme.
Yo, if y'all haven't seen him versus Automatic Ray, I know it's on a small league, but it's a dope battle. Automatic Ray put up a good fight. It was he had an excellent showing. Chilla Jones was rejuvenated in that battle. So if you want to see a rejuvenated Chilla Jones,
was a week
check
after
out that
Sirius.
battle.
That was a week after Sirius.
Ray's automatic, not Gage on the automatic. That was crazy.
Like I was
Buzz Lightyear joint. Like
I was in a different bag. That was in that that battle was rescheduled from the previous year. So those rounds I did tweak and update those rounds a little bit before the battle, but most of that material was was written kind of during my Champion of the Year run, because that's when the battle was supposed to happen, and then it got pushed back.
Right.
But coming off of the Sirius battle, which I felt like I underperformed, in the EK battle, which I felt like I underperformed, that battle was a good battle for me to kind of get back into my mode, get back into kind of having fun, getting back into a different place than I was. So that's why now I'm like, I can't wait. Like, I haven't battled since then. I can't. It's been almost 4 months. I can't wait to get back in the ring because
And you got it to your rapping bag too, because like people forget you're a good rapper too. Like you show that in certain moments. Like one of my favorite rapping segments is like you said you went against JC. You said, "See that? That's the try me face. Get your life erased. Stencil style like a pencil. Get your body traced. If I peep inside that Jeep you drive and I see papes, I'ma follow you with that chopper like a high speed chase." Like that whole sequence is like crazy, and I feel like people don't realize that like that's good lyricism, but that's also great rapping too. Like,
it's different. I'm gonna, especially because of Pendulum, I'm kind of making a conscious effort to get into that bag a lot more in my battles. So it's another reason why I really want to see Mike, because Mike's patterns, combined.
You seen his CJA performance?
Not yet.
It was pretty dope. Like he was in his bag. In his bag. He honestly, I wouldn't say he was more. It seemed like he was more energized in that battle than Geechee, but he most definitely had that swagger, you know what I'm saying, in his raps or whatever in that battle. So if you want to check out that battle, he was on his game in that battle.
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, I would say the Mario scheme, JC Card scheme, the City Astrology scheme, Chaos DJ scheme, and I would say the Usher scheme versus Automatic Ray is my top 5. But I will say definitely some honorable mentions would be I have a hotel scheme in my first round versus Jonai, which is crazy. I have a hairstyle scheme versus DNA. That's super crazy.
Yeah, but you had plenty of schemes against DNA. The monster one, many. The IC, IC. That part was crazy.
The wedding scheme versus DNA is also crazy.
Yeah.
Leave this ring in a box like he's scared of commitment. What else? I have versus Ilmac. I have an electricity scheme that is crazy. But I was so sick in that battle.
Yeah, I ain't gonna front.
My voice was messed up. I couldn't deliver anything.
I'm about to say, out of all the battles, I don't watch that one the most because I can tell you wasn't at 100%, and like it was too late for you to back. And you were in your hometown too, so like I know that stung a little bit because you were in your hometown. You're going against Ilmac, a huge battle, and like you're sick or whatever. And it was during the year. It was 2017, so that was the year where you was having a great year. So yeah, that's one of the battles I don't watch that often because like I kind of know like while the material is good, it's just like I feel like it's something missing just because of like you were sick or whatever. But I think I remember that electricity scheme.
Yeah, but that's one of them too. But honestly, bro,
you're the godfather of it, man.
There's so many schemes that I can mention. I love some of my synonym schemes against Quantum. I love.
The Pumpus conceded. That's why I'm jacking you up. Like that's that was crazy.
There's so many schemes. If you ask me tomorrow, I might have 5 totally other schemes that I can mention that I can break up. I had a crazy dance scheme in a small battle on No Coast against Q-Pop, where I broke down Running Man, Cabbage Patch, Electric Slide, like a whole bunch of different insane. There's so many, man, that I'm sure there's a lot of them that I've even forgotten. If I gotta rewatch some of my battles and be like, oh yeah, I did say that. But those are the 5 I'll go with.
2 more, and then we go on to the flower segment, and we out of here. Gotcha. Top 5 performances by you. So earlier I said top 5 career defining battles, moments, performances. This time I'm saying top 5 performances as in like you put on these 3 rounds, nobody can touch you. So what are the 5 performances from you that you think like if they see this, Chilla is game over?
Brett.
Obviously, 1. Okay.
Shine.
Okay.
part of me wants to put that Automatic Ray performance up there, but I'm gonna hold off for now. Just because there have been some other performances that I think are more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say Prep, I'll say Shine. This is gonna be a controversial pick because technically I lost this battle. But one of my favorite performances was my Real Deal performance from the second battle, the first title match, the one from Boston.
Yes.
And I feel like my first 2 rounds
were really good.
Vintage Chilla. Were just like
mixed in with you know what I'm saying, like showmanship, crowd control,
everything. Yeah. It was punches, it was schemes, it was angles, it was timing, it was rap ability, it was like my confidence was on 10. It was my first title defense as champ, and I feel like it felt like it. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt like an elevated Chilla. You know what I'm saying? For the first probably 2.5 rounds. So I'm gonna say Real Deal Part 2 is number 3. I'm gonna say Math number 4.
Give Mathematics. Oh my goodness.
Number 4.
Don't flop classic for sure.
It was Math's return after the disaster debacle. He was supposed to battle T-Top. T-Top got pulled by URL. I stepped in with 3 weeks to go. And, you know, won that battle in the eyes of many. And I think it was a very well-rounded all-around showing. That, you know, in 2015 when this happened, I didn't have a lot of those. A lot of my better performances were very pen driven. This battle was like, oh, he's freestyling about Bonnie and my verse. Oh, he's, you know, bringing up particular angles. He's not just scheming; he's scheming about Math. He's scheming to Math. Like he's doing what he does, but all of his material is direct. And I did that specifically because I know how direct Math is. So I'll say Math number 4. And then lastly, I gotta say the JC battle. I gotta say the JC battle. I think my hunger was crazier than it had ever been. I think my confidence within my original style was higher than it had ever been in that battle. I felt unbeatable. I felt like nobody could clearly beat me with that style if I was on point. I felt like I was facing someone, you know, this again was another case of like, you know, Mr. Never lost a battle. You know what I'm saying? He beat Rosenberg, he beat Time Bomb. Like he was in a place where people were like, we don't know if this nigga's gonna lose a round. You know, Mr. Never lose a round against Mr. Jump top tier from Proving Grounds. So that would be number 5. That would be my 5. So Prep, Shine, Math, JC, and what was the other one I said? Prep, Shine,
Real Deal second time,
Math, JC. Honorable mention definitely for my Jonai performance.
Yes.
That would be my honorable mention.
Yes. So last question or part of the Rappers Pentagon part. So I love when battlers are honest about, like, you know, certain battles they feel like didn't go their way, or for certain battles that, you know, that they didn't really feel like panned out the way they wanted it to. So if you can, because I know battlers don't do this, but name 5 times you thought you lost the battle or felt like you lost the battle. Easy. 5 times.
Yeah. So these would be either 5 battles I thought I lost, or more than anything that I felt like I underperformed, or you know, left a lot on the table as far as could have been doing better. I'm not going to go in any particular order. Okay. But I will say EK.
Yes.
I will say Ilmac.
Okay.
I will say Pass.
Okay.
I will say DNA first time.
Okay.
And I will say,
I got one, but I'm not. But not to be that guy. But it's just because you admitted it on camera. Be Magic. Because you admitted
choke.
it.
The choke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You admitted it, but you don't have to choose that one though.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the last ones that come to mind for like the fifth spot. Magic is one. Sirius is one. Stewie is one. And there was one more that had come to mind that I was just thinking about. Danny. Danny.
Because that was after the prep battle. That was like shortly after the prep battle, or was
that
it
was
short?
after? That was after.
Was it Prepper Saga? Because I know, like, I'm pretty sure it was after the prep battle, right? I want to say it was after the prep battle. That was 2015.
It was after the prep battle. It was after prep.
Because Saga was top of 2016, right? Maybe.
Saga
or late December.
Saga was December 2015.
Okay.
Cortez and the 2-on-2 were March 2016.
Yes, I remember Cortez was more legacy too.
Yeah. Danny was after that.
Really?
Danny was after that. Danny was that summer. So JC Big Cannon, me and Danny, that was the same summer I battled Pass. So I had Pass like might have been 2 weeks before Danny. And I had, who did I have after Danny? But yeah, but nah, that was 2016.
Right. So, and I remember Danny like coming to play in that battle.
Danny went crazy. Yeah,
I remember I gave you the second round. I thought your first was good, but Danny obviously had the energy and he was like very like punch heavy, and then like I think I gave Danny the third, so I might have gave him the first and third, and I thought I edged you in the second when you had it was just a bags overhead but carry on. That was crazy.
Yeah,
second round.
That one, for me, a lot of people have me winning that battle. I have me winning that battle, so it's not even a case of like I don't think I lost. I don't think I even but for me that was one of the only times where I felt like in the ring, especially after his first round, where I was like, yo, I don't know if I can match his energy.
Right.
Like I would have to get really far out of my character to match his energy, right? Like, I think by the time I got to the third round, I was comfortable enough to kind of turn up a little bit, but like my first round was solid. His first round, his energy was through the roof, super good. Second round, it comes down to, I think, for a lot of the people I've spoken to, a lot of people give me the third because I had the angle about Rex that hit really crazy, but his third was also crazy. So that the second I think is debatable. The third I think is also debatable, and then I think he gets the first. So this kind of depends.
Yeah.
But I look at that battle and I think, man, if I would have stepped my energy up in the first round, I think that would be regarded by more people as like one of those all-time like classic battles. You know what I mean? Because it was really good rapping, it was really good writing. I think my first round is the worst round of the entire battle. There's not a lot of battles where I feel like I have the worst round of the six rounds. That are exchanged. So that definitely gets a mention. That battle and the past battle, much like the EK and the Sirius battle, happened at a time where A, there was a lot going on in my personal life, and B, I had a lot of battles back to back, and it just was a lot. You know what I'm saying? And that's a learning thing of me just being like, okay, I have passed on world domination. Then I have Danny 2 weeks later. And at the time it was like, I gotta take one of these dudes a little lighter than I would like.
Right.
And at the time, it was like it was going to be Pass. I gotta take Pass a little lighter, and you know, Pass went crazy. Pass had a good
Yeah,
performance.
yeah.
And then you know, in my head, I'm like, I'm saving my best shit for Danny, and then Danny goes crazy in the first, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, like you know what I'm saying. So that was like an interesting um back to back battles,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say DNA the first one. I would say Ilmac. I would say EK. I would say Pass. Um, I'm actually gonna say the 2-on-2.
Mhm.
2-on-2 against Top and Briz, me and Magic. I think um we definitely could have did a lot better on a chemistry standpoint.
Right. All right, man. Well, thank you. Now we're getting to the flower segment. And my last question, really, I just want to go down the list of things that makes Chilla Jones Chilla Jones. For starters, Chilla Jones, KOTD champion, right? Champion of the year in 2020, right? The first person to be KOTD champ and champion of the year, in the same career. And on top of that, you made the top 20 one time, and the one time that you did make the top 20, you won it
I
all.
won.
So you got that top 5 battle of all time with JC, top 5 KOTD battle of all time with Daylight, the best rookies versus vets battle of all time with Real Sick, battled Arsenal, K Shine, DNA, Disaster, Conceited, Sharon, Math Hoffa, Ilmac, Nitty, Geechee, Twerk, Iron Solomon, Tay Rock, and Daylight. URL Crucible Scout, right? One of the best pin schemers of all time. So I guess my last question is, with all this being stated, and on top of this, you've done all this without a Summer Madness appearance.
Correct.
What
Crazy.
keeps Chilla Jones motivated, and what else does Chilla Jones want to accomplish before it's all said and done?
It's a really good question, man. I have a lot of thoughts that are racing through my head, and I'm trying to figure out which ones accurately reflect how I feel and which ones are just emotional reactions. But I'll start by saying when I first got into battle rap, I felt like I had a lot to prove.
Mm.
Being, you know, kind of the only male presence from Boston in the mix at a top tier level. I always felt like people were against me, whether it was fans, whether it was battlers, whether it was league owners. I always had a chip on my shoulder that was like, oh, y'all don't want to fuck with me because I'm from Boston, or because I don't carry myself how New York niggas do, or how Philly niggas do, or Chicago niggas do, like because I move differently, because I don't have a gang of people with me everywhere I go, because I don't reflect or glorify a certain lifestyle. Like y'all like to try and play me in certain ways. And so in that regard, Malcolm, on the come up, I always felt like that was part of my motivation and what drove me, and what part of, like, what kind of made me want to prove myself to people.
Mm.
As I sit here with you now, 2020 champion of the year, former King of the Dot champ, one of the best resumes of all time,
Top 5 pin of all time, top 5
top 5
schemer of
pin of
all
all
time.
time. I have a top 5 battle of all time. I could retire today and feel great about what I've accomplished and my legacy. I don't have anything left to prove to myself. I don't have anything left to prove to my fans. but there's still a lot to prove for the people who constantly want you to prove yourself, right?
Right. It
Like
never
that,
ends.
the haters are always gonna say, you know, and shout out to Angry Fan, who is, you know, for a long time was probably driving the Chilla Jones hate train.
You think so?
Oh, I know so for sure. Well, no, on his, you know, and that had a lot to do with a lot of personal differences that we had. But you know, when I had left URL after DNA and had gone to King of the Dot, oh yeah, and Angry Fan and even some other, you know, choice bloggers were, you know, Chilla Jones is whack. Chilla Jones he can't cut it on URL. He's not good enough. That's why he's battling with the white boys. He can't do this, he can't do that. He's a nerd. He's, you know, blah blah blah. So, you know, when I came back and did what I did with Prep, did what I did with Saga, then it was, oh, you know, you beating these PG niggas. You're not really beating no top tier guys. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. You know, then I go back to King of the Dial. Oh, see, he went back to battling the white boys. He, you know, they're never gonna give him the chain. They're not gonna do this. They're not gonna do that. You know, it's always something. Then I go back and battle Nitty, and, you know, I go on this run. It's quiet. It's quiet. And Angry Fan and I have, you know, it's definitely not like that anymore. You know, Angry Fan, you know, is a supporter of what I do, and you know, we're on good terms and have been for a few years. But I definitely remember a time where he and many others, no matter what I did, I had to do something else, right? No matter, you know, you can't get a win on URL, then I go get a win on URL. You can't get a win versus this person, then I get a win versus that person. Well, you'll never be on Gnome again, then I get on Gnome again. Well, you know, you're not going to be champion of the year, then I get champion of the year. Oh, well, you can't, you know, you're not, you know, it's always something, you know, for some people who don't like you, who don't like what you do, and it's going to be like this for you and for everybody else, especially within our own communities, man, as Black men. Like, it's always something. They're always telling us what we can't do. What we can't do. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not strong enough. You're not, you know, you're lacking something to accomplish certain things. And so there's people that'll tell you, you know, well, Chilla never been on Summer Madness, so he's not this. And Chilla never made it to Lux, so he's not this. That's cool. You can look at those two things and think that after an 11-year career that those are the two things that define me. That's fine. But, like, you just ran down my resume. You just ran down all the things that I've accomplished, all the things that I've done. And to put that in perspective, nobody paved that way for me. I didn't have a Loaded Lux or a Murder Mook usher me into this game. I didn't have that major cosign. I didn't have, you know, an easy path to get to URL or an easy path to get to King of the Dot.
And done it on multiple platforms too.
Multiple platforms, multiple times. I'm not somebody that has always been a fan favorite. I've gone through waves where people have loved me, people have hated me because of my style, people have hated me because of my laid back nature, and people have loved me again because of certain battles, and people have hate. Like, I've gone through the waves, I've gone through the evolutions of changing my style, I've gone through conquering different platforms. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me to be able to sit here with you and be like, yeah, man, I conquered King of the Dot. I made it to be champ, to have a title defense, and then to have another title shot right after. It's never happened. It's never been done. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 title shots in the same year and had a title defense in the same year. The very next year, I conquered URL. I won Champion of the Year with all URL battles against all URL battlers and was named the best battler of a year where big stages weren't in the equation.
You had to rap.
It was an era where you had to rap. You had to go into a room and you had to leave your popularity at the door. You had to leave your fan base at the door. You had to leave your cosigns at the door, your affiliations at the door. If you couldn't come in and rap, you looked foolish. Surf stood in front of Lux and looked foolish. Suge stood in front of Jay and looked foolish. Like, if you couldn't rap in its simplest, easiest form, if you couldn't stand across from your person and get your shit off, you didn't have an impact that year. You know what I'm saying? And in a year where the playing ground was as leveled as it had ever been, Chilla Jones was the best in the world. Just think about that for a second. There was no politics. There was no big stages. There was no justification for not booking any particular type of battlers. All of the battlers got put into the same room for every event. Gnome was in the same room as Summer Madness, was in the same room as the Super Fights, was in the same room as the Volumes,
Kings
all in the
Queens,
same room. Yeah. Kings and Queens, all in the same room. All in the same room. And I was named the best battle rapper in that year. Nope, nobody can ever take that away from me, bro. You don't got to give me Summer Madness. You don't got to give me Lux. All I know is the 1 year in battle rap history where all the politics disappeared because of a worldwide pandemic. I was the best nigga doing it.
Enough said.
That's it.
Hey man, well, thank you for spending a lump sum of hours with me, chopping it up, man. I'll throw it out here, man. I think I may have gotten the best Chilla Jones interview that will ever touch YouTube, man, because it's the longest. This is the most people probably heard from you, like in an interview. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very honored, you know what I'm saying, to be able to like have this conversation with you, pick your brain on certain stuff. Very excited to see you back in the ring, man. You know what I'm saying? Like when the volumes come, we need you and O-Red on that volume. I've been lobbying for it, so I'm going to keep lobbying for you and O-Red or you and Mike P on the volume. Either one will work for me. Again, you're a solidified legend in this game. You don't need a Summer Madness appearance to solidify your legend status. Your resume is already golden. You already accomplished a lot of things. The only thing I would want as a fan and as any other battle rapper fan is for you to keep going and for you to do what Chilla Jones wants to do, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't owe us anything. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, right? Like you doing the Pendulum Inc. stuff is pushing the culture forward. You being a URL Crucible Scout is pushing the culture forward. So at this point in time, you know what I'm saying? I know it's easier said than done, but we want to see Chilla when Chilla's motivated. So if you're gonna be battling, I would much rather you, hell, if you got to sit out for 6 months, 8 months until you get that battle that you want, I'm all for it, because at the end of the day, when Chilla comes 100%, like he's giving us a show every time. So yeah, man, I just want to thank you for hopping on the Speaking Our Language show. Small announcement in honor of this interview. Chilla Jones 2020 Champion of the Year run documentary will be coming out soon, within a week or so, to kind of compromise pretty much to accommodate the interview or whatever, just so you guys can kind of get the scope of the magnitude of the run that he made that year, because it was indeed one of the most impressive runs that's ever been made in battle rap. But thank you guys for watching the Speaking Our Language show. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. And yeah, any words for you in closing?
Yeah, man, thank you for having me, bro. I know we've been talking about doing this interview for a while, so I'm glad we finally were able to find some time to get this done. Salute to all of my fans, salute to all my supporters, everybody that has kept up with me over the years, everybody who follows me. Please tune into everything that I have going on. As you can see, Pendulum Inc., the logo. Pendulum Inc. is a school that will teach you how to rap, how to write, how to incorporate different techniques and styles into what you're trying to do. If you're an up-and-coming rapper, up and coming writer of any sort, man, go to penduluminc.com, pendulumink.com, and check out what we have to offer. Make sure you stay tuned in on the music side with Jones Inc. Okay, Jones Inc. 2020 is the tag on Twitter and Instagram if you want to follow some of my music moves and everything I have coming up. I have another. We have another EP that's going to be coming out probably this summer.
Fire.
So for more information on that and for more singles and things to come, you should be sure to follow that. And then of course on the battle side, man, I'm expecting to have a battle in May, which hopefully, you know, I'll get the contract for in the next couple of days, and also discussing a battle in June. So you may see me back to back on URL, trying to get the contract and everything figured out. So hopefully, you know, this Monday on my show, I should have some more information on that and be able to give the people some more information on that. But otherwise, thank you so much for having me, man. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Chilla Jones. Follow me at my website, www.chillajones.com. And yeah, man, thank you for having me. I'll see everybody soon.
All right. I appreciate y'all for watching, and see you guys next time.